Hello, everybody. Welcome to another sharing of Wisdom Bits. Today, I would like to share with you a beautiful story. Actually, it says, more we learn, lesser we know. So, some people in ancient times actually they were considered as the fool, and they were the wise. So, people who thought they knew everything were considered as a fool. But even if you know, like you don't know everything, that was considered as wisdom, and this was a quality of a wise person. So let me get to a beautiful story that really brings up this topic. So once there was a young professor uh, going on a voyage, a sea voyage, and then he was a very educated person. Intellectually he was very educated, and he had this long list of letters behind his name, no, after his name. And but he didn't have much experience in the world, but he was very proud and egoistic. So he was traveling, and there was this old illiterate sailor. So every evening the sailor would visit the cabin of this young professor and listen to him lecture on many like different subjects, and this sailor was very impressed about the learning of this young professor. No, he was very educated. So one evening, as the sailor was about to leave the cabin of the professor after many hours of conversation, the professor asked, "Old man, have you studied geology?" And the sailor asked, like, "What is that, sir?" "Or it's the science of the earth." And then the sailor very humbly said, "No, sir, I have never been to any school or college. I have never studied anything." And then the professor said, "Oh, you old man, you have wasted quarter of your life." And then the sailor was sad and he went with a long face. No, if such a learned person says so, it must be true. Yes, I have wasted quarter of my life. And next evening also, the sailor came to this professor's cabin, and he was listening, no? And then while he was about to leave, the professor asked him again, "Old man, have you studied oceanology?" And guess what, right? The uh, elderly sailor said, "No, sir." He first asked, "What is that?" And it's the professor very proudly said, "It's the science of the sea." And the the sailor said, like, "No, sir, I have never studied anything." "Oh, you old man, you wasted half of your life." And I have wasted. If a man who's learned said so, it must be so, he thought. And then another day, this professor asked him again, "Have you studied meteorology?" "Yes, what is that, sir? I have never heard of it even." He said, you old man, the science of the wind, rain, and the weather." Oh, he said, "No, sir, I have never studied. I have not been into any school." Then the professor said, "You have not studied the science of the earth, which you live. You have not studied the science of the sea, which you earn your livelihood. You have not studied the science of weather, which you encounter every day. Old man, you have wasted three quarters of your life." So then the sailor felt very sad, no, and unhappy also. This learned man says, "I have wasted three quarters of my life. I certainly must have wasted three quarters of my life." So this sailor was quite humble. And next day, the sailor came running to the cabin of the professor. Uh, and he asked suddenly, "Oh, professor, have you studied swimology?" And the professor asked, "Swimology? What do you mean?" "Can you swim, sir?" asked the sailor. And the professor said, "No, I don't know how to swim." Then the sailor said, "Professor, sir, you have wasted all your life. The ship struck a rock and it's sinking. Those who can swim may reach the nearby shore, but those who cannot swim will drown. I'm so sorry, Professor. You have surely lost all of your life." And then, so understand, no? This person was so high and mighty, but the basic things he did not know. So sometimes it's not filling up your minds with like many books or words, we call it perceptions. Uh, and then what happens is we go to exam and then it's like we put them out according to the question, the trigger point. So we load it up, but sometimes the things we load up doesn't come up as the question. So then we try to fix things and say, but it's not the proper answer. So that's why people study a lot, right? But though they filled up with data, that doesn't make a person a good or even a wise person. You see plenty of people with a lot of knowledge, they do bad things, right? So uh, more we learn, more we understand, uh, we do not know. It's a very humbling way, and there's so much to understand, so much to know. And in this wide universe, we are not even like a speck of dust. So let us take this message, and then some like very simple things, people, like life hacks, no, like this: knowing to swim, how to live, no, how to face things, no. Sometimes people society consider as the most illiterate or uneducated, they know it the best. In the ancient times they didn't have this way of like uh, feeding all this data, no, but they were very wise. They had much more intelligence. They were they had much more relaxation, lot of things, not stressed out and so confused, no, like modern society. And what they made in those days, people are still amazed by them. So let us take this message into our lives also. And I wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful day.